Hello, all you fantastic people out there. Today, we're about to delve into a truly captivating tale of courage and adventure featuring Delphine E. McCarty. Delphine McCarty or McCarthy, more commonly known as Madame Blanc or, after her third marriage, as Madame Lalaurie, was a New Orleans socialite and serial killer who was believed to have tortured and murdered slaves. In the 1830s, a fire broke out at the Lalaurie mansion. It began in the kitchen, and when authorities arrived on the scene, they found a 70-year-old black woman chained to the stove. The cook told the fire marshal that she had set the fire in order to commit suicide because Delphine kept her chained up all day and punished her for the slightest infraction. In the process of extinguishing the fire and evacuating the house, bystanders broke down the doors and found 7 more enslaved people chained to walls, horribly mutilated and tortured. They told investigators they had been there for months. The next day, the New Orleans Bee wrote, upon entering one of the apartments, 7 slaves more or less horribly mutilated were seen suspended by the neck, with their limbs apparently stretched, and torn from one extremity to the other, nearly kept in existence to prolong their suffering. Many of Lalaurie's slaves were horrifically mangled. One woman was discovered missing her arms and legs. Another woman had had her bones twisted and broken in order to fit her inside a tiny metal cage. Many skulls were found with holes drilled into them, and in one case, a slave was still living with a maggot-filled hole in his head. Even more horrifying, it was said one man was found with a hole drilled into his head and a stick protruding out that had been used to stir his brains. Some scholars have theorized that as much as Lalaurie felt a smoldering disdain for her female slaves, she absolutely hated the men whom she'd enslaved. When the bodies of slaves were removed from the attic, it was noted that the men had their fingernails, eyes, and genitals removed. Even though her mansion was set on fire by one of her slaves, and despite the people of New Orleans going full mosh pit on her belongings, Madame Lalaurie was able to evade punishment. No one really knows how she spent the rest of her life. In 2007, Nicolas Cage bought the mansion for $3.4 million.